You know, I was not going to do a review for this, but if you're new to the channel and you didn't know, I like to give the viewers what they want, and this book teaches us that we are pack, right? Hot. Hey, what's up, bookworms and buckkeepers? What do y'all think? Buckkeepers, does that work? Anyway, I'm Mike back again to talk a little Robin Hobb this morning. I wasn't actually planning on doing this review like I said there, but I got a lot of feedback in that weekly update video that you guys would love to hear me continue to talk about Realm of the Elderlings. So that's what we're going to do with book number 2 of the Farseer trilogy. This is Royal Assassin. I read out of this beautiful, beautiful illustrated edition. Again, if you guys have the option to get these where you're located, please do, because they are awesome, and I'd love for them to make the entire Realm of the Elderlings in this matching set, because that would be just wonderful to someone who only owns Farseer up to this point. So that would be really great for me to not have to double dip on those things. But released in 1996, obviously the follow-up to 1995's Assassin's Apprentice. This one does feel a little different, and everybody told me that this was going to happen, that it was much different than book number 1, and we're going to talk about it. Like I said here, this will be non-spoiler, but guys, there will be some spoilers for book number 1. That's the trade-off here. If you want me to continue to talk about these series non-spoiler, what I have to do is I have to talk about what happened in the previous book, or there's some things I'm just not going to be able to get across to you on why it mattered in the sequel book. So there will be no spoilers for Royal Assassin, but there might be some things that happen in Assassin's Apprentice that you might not want to know about. So if that is the case, I encourage you to pause this video, read it. It might be a really long pause, or just bookmark it, come back to it later. It will be here waiting for you when you're done. So let's get into it, guys, by doing like we usually do and telling what is the book about. Fitz has survived his first hazardous mission as King's assassin, but is left little more than a cripple. Battered and bitter, he vows to abandon his oath to King Shrewd, remaining in the distant mountains. But love and events of terrible urgency draw him back to the court at Buckkeep and into the deadly intrigues of the royal family. Renewing their vicious attacks on the coast, the Red Ship raiders leave burned-out villages and demented victims in their wake. The kingdom is also under assault from within as treachery threatens the throne of the alien king. In this time of great danger, the fate of the kingdom may rest in Fitz's hands, and his role in its salvation may require the ultimate sacrifice. And guys, that leads us to 1996's Royal Assassin. And I think this was a book that had a little bit of a hype for me, because a lot of people, even the ones who say that Farseer is one of the lesser trilogies out of this whole series, have said that, but really, if you just make it through book number 1, you'll be fine. I loved book number 1. I talked about it at length here, so I was really looking forward to getting this one. So did it meet those expectations? Let's do like we always do, talk about what makes it good or bad. The good, guys, we are pack. Yes, I had a lot of hype about this little cub named Night Eyes, and I'll say that the early returns are that I can see why people love this character. So much so that I wish he had a bigger part in this book, because anytime that he is in this book, I feel like the book just soars. But I do wish that there was more of him. When you're talking about a 608-page book, I think it was 68. I don't know. Let's see, 608. It was probably a little more. I may be getting that confused with one of the other. Oh, yeah. Dude, it's like 688. Yeah, it's quite a thick one. But I wish that I would seen him a little bit more. But God, he is so good when he's there. And I don't know how much of that is just expectations, because so many people talk about Night Eyes. I mean, I think it was my friend Megan over at Megan's Reading Revelations. Check her channel out if you had. She's awesome. She says that she would die for Night Eyes. I was like, wow, that's some high expectations, right? But I felt like I said, the early returns are that met those expectations. But again, I'm also a sucker for animal companions. I love Storm from The Faithful and the Fallen. I love Ghost from A Song of Ice and Fire. And yeah, one book in, I love Night Eyes from Realm of the Elderlings. So yes, I'm a sucker for an animal companion. So that wasn't really a hard sell for me. But I really felt like it was a slow burn relationship. And if there's one thing, a phrase that you can use about this book a lot, I think it's slow burn. It is a very much a slow burn. And some people are going to have problems with that, but I'll get into that when I get to the other part. I'm talking about the good right now. This slow burn relationship with Night Eyes is really good, and it feels earned. It isn't like a, hey, we did this one thing, now we're best friends. It actually kind of develops over the course of this novel till it gets to the point to where, let that wall down and just embrace the relationship, and it feels really, really earned. And again, the wit. The communication with Night Eyes is what I think is going to differentiate Night Eyes from other animal companions I like. Look, I love a good wolf companion, okay? I just talked about several of them. I think what can make Night Eyes potentially surpass Ghost and Storm as some of my favorites wolf companions in any story is the fact that you can actually hear Night Eye's thoughts. With the wit, they can communicate telepathically. So giving this wolf a voice makes it just really more than just like a companion. He's really just another character because he has dialogue. So I think that's a nice touch, and I feel like it's a really good way to not have talking animals like we're in Narnia or something. I love Narnia, but it's one of those things I think that kind of make it still seem fresh, and it makes it a character that you can find more to relate to than just, oh, he's a bestest boy and he has such pretty eyes. It actually is a character that's going to develop over a while. Now, the big thing with this book is you get a deeper look at the politics at court. I think in the last one, you kind of heard a lot about them. They were kind of going on in the background. This time you get a front row chair to the politics of Buckkeep, and they are hairy. Things get hairy rather quickly, and it gets to the point sometimes where you're just like, what are you guys doing? Why are you not doing something about this? And those who have read it know what I'm talking about. I'll get into it more here in a second. But Regal is still a real piece of work in this. I said in the last one that he was just a villain. Just every time he's on the page, I just want to punch him. Yeah, it's tripled in this one. He gets even worse. And I think that could be both a good and a bad, because I think a series like this really needs just a despicable, hateful villain. But there's times where he really does just kind of seem kind of mustache twirling bad guy. He's just bad for no reason. Look, I wouldn't say it's no reason. Okay, look, he has a very clear motive, and you get it. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, but do you have to just be like such a piece of shit like all the time? And I guess yes you did. I think that overall, the continued relationship building that Hobb keeps putting out here, everyone sold me on her character work. 2 books in, that was a very good, very accurate sales job, because the relationship building with Burrich, with Che, with Molly, with Verity in this is just taken to another level. And I really, really, as much as I hate Regal, I think I love Verity. And I know that might come back to bite me eventually, but he's spectacular in this book. I think like in the last one, he just kind of seemed to be that, if Regal was the full-on bad, he was just the full-on good, just for that balance. I feel like he gets some depth in this book. And there's one conversation, this moment between Burrich and Verity, basically arguing about Fitz's well-being, his safety, trying not to spoil you guys. And it was a real eye-opener. It was real. And you see that both of these characters, they care about Fitz just in very, very different ways, But the fact that Verity just trusts Fitz so much is just something that I really, really needed, because I feel like everyone, even Shrew just kind of looks at him as like a chess piece, someone to do his bidding for him. But I feel like Verity actually values him and trusts him, and values his opinion. And I feel like that's something that a character, the age of Fitz and the life that he's led at this point, that's something that he really needs in his life. So again, I feel like now he's almost got like 3 father figures here. He's got Verity, he's got Burrich, he's got Shade, and they're all very, very different. So 3 dads are better than none, right? So I really do continue to love some of those developing relationships, and I can see now why people credit her character work, because it's very, very good 2 books in. I'm still very much intrigued by the Forged. I still do wish we got more, but I'm thinking book 3 is where we're going to have like the culmination of all that. If these aren't the overlying, if these aren't like the White Walkers of this whole series, maybe. I don't know. But I feel like you didn't get very much in the first book. This one you get a little bit more. You get more confrontations with them. You get to learn a little bit more about them, more confrontations with them. Battle scenes are very good, by the way. But it's enough to keep me intrigued, but it's something I feel like I'm going to need more in book 3, or else I'm going to start to kind of write these characters off as just like, we just need like a dark threat in the background. So I'm thinking that she will. I hope so, because I want each of these trilogies to kind of feel closed off, That way I don't feel like I must pick up the next one immediately, because, guys, I got a schedule and it's rough. Let's talk about a little bit of the brutality, I guess you say. My wife was asking about the series. I was telling her about it, and I always am hopeful she's going to read these things, but she's probably not going to. But she was like, well, is it YA? I mean, no, it's definitely not YA. I say it's more like traditional. I say I like A Wheel of Time. I say maybe like a in between like PG and PG-13, where it's approachable for all audiences. And then I read this one chapter where there's a person getting their scalp ripped off by a wolf, and Fitz is holding dead children. And I'm like, oh, okay. So definitely in the, I'd say now it's slanted in between the PG-13 and the R. I'd say it's kind of like on a John Gwynne level of violence. There's bad things that happen. There are things that are insinuated, and you don't really maybe get the play-by-play by them, in a much like in a Robert Jordan way, where, violence is happening. He's just not going to Joe Abercrombie and tell you every single little detail of what their intestines look like. Hobb, very, very similar. She doesn't seem like she's afraid to get her hands dirty. And, the battle scenes are very visceral and real, and the aftermaths are usually pretty brutal. But one thing I was told about this book is every time something good is happening to Fitz, Hobbs like, how can I hurt this character now? It happens with all the characters, I think, in this. But I do think that the adult fantasy tag is starting to get more applied to it as I go forward. I'm starting to think maybe as Fitz grows over the series, she's going to expect the reader to grow as well in their age, because a lot of the people, like A Wheel of Time, they read this as they got older, so she kept writing it for people that were growing along with the series. That's just a guess on my behalf, but judging off of that chapter alone, I'm thinking that's going to be the case. Let's talk about the bad here, guys. There are a couple of things here. Look, the pacing of this book is going to kill the series for some people. They're never going to get past it. They're going to drop the series in this book because of it. Like I said, 688 pages. There are times where I kind of questioned, is Miss Hobb losing the narrative already? This kind of feels a little bit like maybe Rhythm of War from Brandon Sanderson, or possibly, I shudder to say, like a Crown of Swords from Robert Jordan, where it's like, did you really need that many pages to tell me this? Because there are several times where look, I'm all about character development, relationship development. I've said character is what matters most to me in these books. But there's a point where she just started like repeating stuff. It was like it was going in a circle. It was like over and over again. It was like, yeah, you already told me this 2 chapters ago. Why are we doing it again? And she keeps doing that several times in this, where I feel like some people might check out. Look, I was never to a point of boredom with it. I just kind of was like, you just spent 300 pages telling me what you could have told me in 25, and that seems like a really, really odd choice. Look, there are some entirely frustrating plots in this, and there are plots that will make you, as the readers, say, who would do this in this situation? Why aren't you taking care of this glaring problem? Everyone in the room can see what's going on. Why aren't you doing something about it? And you just keep getting told, oh, well, there's a reason that they're doing that. And I don't know that it's ever really satisfying, so to speak. I don't know. Look, I love the ending. The last 100 pages of this are phenomenal. Some of the best stuff I've read. It really is. But getting there sometimes can be a little frustrating. And some of the subplots within the court can start to eat at you after a little bit. And a lot of those begin and end with a character named Molly. Now look, in the first book, and I don't know how the fandom feels about Molly. I haven't really heard this one way or the other. I know when I floated on the Discord, a lot of people were like, yeah, you're kind of justified in that thought. I kind of liked their relationship in the first book. They saw each other every couple years, and it felt like, okay, he's getting like real human connection. He needs this and things. And I liked the relationship a lot. First third of this book, I liked the relationship. And then every single time Molly shows up, I hate to say this word, guys, but she just nags. And look, yeah, it's a shitty situation that she's stuck in. I get it. But it just seemed like every chapter of her ended with her in tears and running away. And it just got so entirely frustrating there's a part where she basically is, Fitz isn't allowed to leave the castle for a reason I won't tell you. He is not allowed to leave the grounds. She's outside the grounds. He sees her crying. He can't run to her because the guards won't let him out. And she just nags at him the rest of this book about, you didn't come to me when I was crying. Big fucking deal. Get over it. So yeah, look, Molly just got to a point where I couldn't stand her to the point to where I don't care if she shows up again in this series. So I don't know if she is the overarching love interest in this story or not. But yeah, I felt like complete character assassination through the rest of this book. I don't want these two to end up together after what I read the last like 400 pages of this book. I think there are better options out there. It turns out that one of them might be his queen. But hey, that's a conversation for the spoiler talk. Let's get into, guys, why you should read it. Now, look, if you liked book 1, but you wanted to know more about the wit, you want to know more about the skill, you're going to get it in this one. It has those things. Some of my gripes about book 1 was I felt like I wasn't even clear on what was what. You definitely get more cleared up in this one. I wouldn't say everything is perfectly explained, but enough that you're going to be satisfied and you still want to continue to know more. That's a good hook. I think she's doing a great job describing these things, letting it happen kind of organically. It definitely seems like she understands it. You just don't understand it yet. So what I mean by that is it doesn't seem like she's not Brent Weeksing it. She's not making it up as she goes. She's definitely got a plan on how she's going to unveil this magic system to you slowly. And I like where it's headed. I do like the more life at court. If you're more into the inner workings of the court, the politics, the backroom stuff, I think you'll be fine with this. Like I said, some of those things do seem like they just kind of happen again and again. But a lot of it's really good. It's really intriguing. I do wish there was more of the assassinating. I love that word, assassinating. I do wish there was more of that. But again, that's something I was told about the series. If you go into it understanding you're not going to get a bunch of assassinations and stuff, that the titles are just very deceiving that way, you're going to appreciate it more. So I feel like you should know this, that there isn't a lot of assassinating. I know that's not a word, but I'm going to keep using it. But again, guys, you should read this for the character relationships. It's very human. I can't find a better word for that. She really does just get into the humanity of these characters, and they feel like living, breathing characters, not just words on a page. And that is just the work of a master character craftsman, and she very much seems to be. Now, a couple final thoughts here, guys. Look, this is definitely a series I'm going to be all in on. I said I was going to read Farseer and decide I wasn't going to commit to the whole thing. I'm going to read the whole series. I don't have a schedule for this yet, guys, because I did have a lot of the year planned out already. I know that I'll probably at least get Live Ship Traders in here. And you know what? Then I'll probably be missing Fits. I'll probably be missing Night Eyes. And I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and move on to the one after that, too. But as far as like the whole realm of the Elderlings this year, I don't know. I don't know. We're talking, what, 15, 16 books? I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that all this year. But it is a series I'm going to continue with because I like it enough for that. What I want to say is, I've said again, I'm not a prose snob at all. So I really don't even know how to word this properly, but Hobb's writing style is absolutely infectious, and I can't get enough of it. I can't stop thinking about it. If I was one of those crazy sick people like on the Discord who actually like highlight their books, yeah, I would be doing that nonstop because there are so many quotes in these books. I'm like, that is absolutely gorgeous. She could just be describing a hill, and it's beautiful, man. She's very good at what she does, and I don't know why I don't hear about her more. And I mean, now after I bring it up, people are like, oh yeah, she's one of the best writers. I just never heard that before. I always heard all these about Robert Jordan, Patrick Rothfuss, things like that. I never hear anybody talk about Robin Hobb's writing style, but it is magnificent. She is a master at this. I can't wait to see where she takes it. If you guys are telling me that this series gets better than this, because if the plots get even better and her writing style stays just what it is at this point, oh man, I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. Now look, it's a touch over long, for sure. I'm not going to lie about that. But again, it was never to the point of boredom. I was always engaged. I was always ready to go with the next chapter. And there are little things. We had this kind of discussion on the Discord lately about epigraphs and poems and things like that. The epigraphs in this are almost like a history, and I'm at a point now where I'm like, you know what, I would just like to compile these and put them in like some kind of chronological order and read this history of the land, because I find that stuff very interesting, especially the stuff about the Elderlings. I gotta know more about this. But guys, that was Royal Assassin. Have you read it? What did you think? I want you to drop in the comments and let me know what you thought. I had a great time with it. I can't wait to continue, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. So drop in the comments and let me know, and I will talk to you there.